Mathematics paper 1. Let us now go over to question 2. So what does question 2 require? Part 1. Express 0,008478 correct to 2 decimal places. So what are the required skills to go about this question? Firstly, we need to know what decimal places are. And then secondly, we need to be able to round off to the nearest whatever specification. So these are the skills we need to firstly just hint on, then we go over to solve our question. So let us clear up and work through that decimal number. It's a decimal number if it has a comma. A comma defines a decimal number. So let us look at 0,008478. What is a decimal place? A decimal place, these are places after the comma to the left, to the right. Places after the comma to the right. So let us count the decimal places we have in this decimal number to give clarity on what we are saying. So this is our comma. We start from the immediate number to the right. So this is the first decimal place, 1, the second, third, fourth, fifth, then sixth. So in this decimal number, we have 6 decimal places. But the demands of our question are we have to express this decimal correct to 2 decimal places. So this 0 is our second decimal place. Literally, this is what we want to do. We need to cut off the number of decimal places to 2, while we have 6 decimal places in our number. How then do we do it? We look at the decimal place after the required decimal places, which is the third. Then we round off this number in the third decimal place to the number in the second decimal place. This is how the rounding off will be like. So this takes us to our second skill, which we require to know. How do we do the rounding off? In a nutshell, say we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Then here we have 5. If our number is 4 and below, there's no effect. It has no effect on this 0. But if our number is 5 and above, the effect is adding 1. So this is how rounding off is done. So let us go back to the question and see how we can work through it. 0.008478 to the nearest 2 decimal places. So this is how we are going to represent our answer. 0.008478 is equal to, right? So 1, 2 decimal places, we look at the immediate number to our right, see if it is above 5 or 4 and below. 8, it's above 5. The effect is adding 1 here. So it will be 0.01 to 2 decimal places. This is how we represent our answer. Maybe if you did not understand how I did it, you can comment below and I will try to expound more in a different video. But basically, that is how we express 0.008478 correct to 2 decimal places. As you can confirm, our answer is 2 decimal places, yet our question contains 6 decimal places. Let us now go over to 2A, part 2. 2A, part 2 is saying express 0,008478 in standard form. What is the skill set? What are we required to know before we can be able to express any number in standard form? So let me represent this differently. Basically, we should know that this is the generalized form of the standard form, A times 10 to the power n. What is A? A, this is just a number. And n, it's a power. In other textbooks, A will be called a coefficient. This is now mathematical jargon, just means a number. And those who want to be fancy, they will call a power an exponent. But you don't have to worry about these terms. It's enough just knowing that A is a number and n is a power. What does this imply? And how is it relevant to 2A part 2? Let us give it a condition. A times 10 to the power n, that is the generalized form of the standard number. So it's A times 10 to the power n, where this is now the condition. A is greater than or equal to 1, but is less than 10. What does this mean? So this number A, it has a condition. It should be greater than or equal to 1, implying it can be 1, less than 10. So if we need to represent this on a number line, this will be like this. A, 1, 10. So 1 is included. A can be 1, but here it's a hollow circle because 10 is not included. So A is a number between 1 and 10, including 1, excluding 10. So A can be, firstly, A, it's a positive number because we do not have negative numbers in this range. So A is a positive number. Then also we should appreciate that A can be a decimal, so long it lies in the defined range. It will make more sense when we go to our question. So this is what we should know before we can answer this question. How then can we answer the question? Let me clear the working space. Okay. How do we represent our answer? 0,008478 is equal to, we need to know what A is. And in order for us to know what A is, our comma should move places. So this is the comma. It moves 1, 2, 3 times to this point. Why to that point? Because if we are to write this, it will be 8,078. Can you see that this decimal now satisfies the condition that A should be between 1 and 10? It does. 8 is within the specified range. But our comma is moved places coming from the negative towards the positive. The reason why we now have to multiply by 10 but it has moved 3 places coming from the negative. So it will be 8,478 times 10 to the power negative 3 in standard form. In standard form. Right? That is how you represent the answer. Why is it, some may ask, why is it negative here? Because this number is a very small number. It's a fraction, it's decimal. But here we have expressed it as a large number. So in order for it to retain its small stature, we multiply it by 10 to the negative 3. Or if what I said did not make sense, let me show you another way of finding the standard form, which is more mathematical. The other way now will be, this is equal to, again, our comma moves 1, 2, 3 times, so it's 8.478 over 1. It has moved 3 times, so we have 3 zeros now, right? Yeah. So this now is equal to 8.478 multiplying 1 over 1,000. So I've separated this fraction into 2. And if we are to represent this now, it will be equal to 8,478 times 1 over 10 to the power 3, right? And this means finally it will be 8,478 times 10 to the negative 3. So this is now a procedural way of getting to the answer. So the first one is quicker, it's faster, more efficient. The second one, a bit slower, maybe by fractions of moments, but eventually you get to the answer. So pick your poison. You have to use the method you are most comfortable with. The most important thing is, firstly, to be as quick as possible, as efficient as possible, and retain correct answers wherever you can. So that will be 2A. Let us move on to 2B. I have to rewrite that one in case of those who are recording. So this will be how it will be represented, times 10 to the negative 3 in standard form. Okay. Let us go to 2B. 2B says, write down correct to the nearest integer root of 4 or 2. So I have a question. What is a perfect square? Because it's necessary to know what a perfect square is in order for us to answer this question, especially this part which says nearest integer. So a perfect square is a square which is a root or a perfect root. For example, mathematics is numbers, not language. Root 9 is equal to 3. 9 is a perfect square because if we multiply 3 times 3, we'll get 9. The same is 25, a perfect square because its root will be 5. The same is 49, a perfect square because its root will be 7, right? 402 is not a perfect square. We do not have two numbers. We do not have a number which, if we multiply it by itself, it gives us 402. So that is the reason why we are tasked to express to the nearest. So how do we go about it? what we do is we look at our number 402 and we need to find a number closest to 402, which is a perfect square. And that number is 400. So next what we will do is we are going to consider the root of 400. How do we find the square root? This is paper one, no calculator. So you cannot punch in your calculator and it returns an answer. So you need to know the manual way through which you can find a square root. So what is it? You have to express it in this manner, right? 2 into 400 is the same as the half of 400. So maybe let me use this language now. What is the half of 400? Half of 400 is 200. And the half of 200 is 100. And the half of 100 is 50. And the half of 50 is 25. Okay, 2 is no longer a factor, but 5 is. 5 into 25, that's 5, and 5 into 5, it's 1. This means that the square root of 400, in order for me to be mathematically correct now, 400 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. This can be written as 2 to the power 4 times 5 squared. When we now need to find the square root, if a number appears twice, it should be represented once. So we have 2, 2. So this 2, we cancel out this 2. We take this 2, we cancel out this 2, we take this 2, we cancel out this 5, and we take this 5, implying that the square root of 400 will be 2 times 2 times 5. So for 2 to the power 4, we only took 2 2's and cancelled out the others. It's like a cancellation effect. And for 5 times 5, we took 1 5 and cancel out the others. And of course, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5, which is 20. So our answer is 20. And this is the working. Let me reiterate. 402 is not a perfect square. The square root of 402 is not a singular number. It's a decimal, right? It's not a whole number. So what do we do? Since we're expressing to the nearest here, what we do is we find the closest number closer to 402, which is 400, and we do the manual way of finding a square root, which is 20. Some others who are geeks, if I may use the term, might have just noticed that, of course, maybe let me do like this. Let me clear out a little. Maybe this might be another method to find out the square root of that number using sad form. So let me make this a little tidier. Okay, we need to find the square root of 400. But we know that the square root of 400, we can write it as 4 times 100. So this will be equal to the square root of 4 times the square root of 100. So this will be the square root of 4 is 2 times the square root of 100. It's 10. 2 times 10, it's 20. Another way also. So this will be it. This will be our question number 2. If you have any questions, you have to address them in the comment section. I'm sure to make a video explaining whatever concept I might have muffled through as I was recording this class. Any comments are welcome, feedback, and all. Thank you for your time. Asante wanafunzi.